Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys. I hope that all of you are having a great day. Now the topic of today's video is going to be me showing you some great alternatives to very well known clone fragrances. Now I have two reasons why I'm going to show you these alternatives. The first one is just to give you a chance to actually smell a little bit different compared to everybody else who's wearing the well-known clone fragrances. And the second reason is because in most cases that I'm going to show you today, most alternatives that I'm going to show you today are actually a bit cheaper or quite a bit cheaper compared to their well-known brothers. The first fragrance that I'm going to give you an alternative for is from the house of Lattafa and their Pride line, and it's called Ishq Al-Shuk Gold. This is a fantastically done clone of Rosendos Mathieu No. 5. On its own also it has a fantastically good quality to it. You got that smoky powdery vanilla that's mixed with some leather, some spices, really nicely done fragrance with great performance and projection. But it's a little bit more on the expensive side, and I'm going to give you one cheaper alternative. It comes from the house of Zimaya and it's called Oud Oud. One of the recent Zimaya releases. This again is a straight up clone of Rosendos Mathieu No. 5. You got pretty much the same players, that smoky powdery vanilla that's mixed with some spices and some suede leather. On its own, a fantastic fragrance. It lacks a bit of the performance that you get out of Ishq Al-Shuk Gold, but as I said, this is a beast mode performing fragrance, whereas Oud Oud is more on the, let's call it, a strong performing fragrance. You're still gonna get 8 hours of performance out of it with very nice projection in the first 2 hours. Both fragrances are perfectly unisex, but Oud Oud usually costs about half the price of Ishq Al-Shuk Gold, or even on some markets even about a third of the price of the Lattafa fragrance. Notino are selling this thing here in Europe for about 20 euros, sometimes even less, which makes it a fantastic deal. You get a very nice looking bottle, very nice presentation, and all in all a very nice fragrance on its own. The first alternative in this video from Zimaya, Oud Oud. If you enjoy my videos guys, but you're not yet a subscriber to the channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Okay, now the second fragrance that I'm going to show an alternative for comes from the house of Maison Alhambra. This is a clone of a very famous designer fragrance that's called YSL Tuxedo, and the clone from Maison Alhambra is called the Tux. Now this again on its own is a fantastically well done fragrance, a fantastic clone of Tuxedo, but there are two main problems with this fragrance. The first problem is the amount of hype that this thing received, and for that reason, even up to this day, this is almost constantly sold out and it's very hard to get. And the second reason is a follow-up from the first reason, and that's because of the amount of hype and because of the fact that it's constantly sold out. Prices on this thing, if you really want to get your hands on this one, and it's sold out on most places, prices on this thing for example some place like eBay can reach crazy high prices, over the $100 mark, which makes it an insanely bad deal in my opinion. So I'm going to give you an alternative to the Tux, and it comes from the house of Rochas and it's called Mustache EDP. Now this Mustache EDP is not a direct clone of neither the Tux or Tuxedo, but it's done in a very similar style. I still get that very strong patchouli note out of it. You get the vanilla, you get the spices, but here the fragrance is done a little bit more mellow, it's slightly sweeter. You have an added rose note, and this thing to my nose has a slight sort of an old school barbershopy vibe to it as well. All in all, it's done in a very similar style, but not a direct clone, and still is a great alternative to both the original and the clone from Maison Alhambra. It has very good performance, has a decent amount of projection, and if you can get your hands on a 125 milliliter bottle, tester bottle like I have here, prices can be very competitive. And all in all, this can serve as a great alternative to the Tux and Tuxedo. The second alternative fragrance in this video from Rochas, Moustache EDP. The third clone fragrance that I'm going to show you an alternative for is again from the house of Maison Alhambra, and again like with the Tux, this thing received a lot of hype and is constantly sold out. And if you really want to get your hands on a bottle of this one, prices can reach crazy high levels, which makes it unjustifiable in my opinion. The original fragrance is called Kilian's Angel Share. The clone fragrance from Maison Alhambra is called Kismet Angel. It's a very, very nicely done clone of Angel Share, especially the opening is almost spot on, you know, compared to the original scent. The dry down is not super close, but still this on its own is a fantastically done fragrance. But again, as I said, this is constantly sold out and sometimes it's super expensive. So I'm going to give you an alternative. It comes from the house of Fragrance World and it's called Cocktail Intense. This on its own is a great clone again of Angel Share. It lacks a bit of the boozy, strong boozy vibe that you get out of the original and Angel and Kismet Angel, which I think, in my opinion, to this day has the closest opening to the original fragrance. But on the dry down, this will get you super close to the original fragrance. It also has pretty much the same performance that you get out of Kismet Angel, maybe even a little bit better performing, and the prices here are very competitive. Here in Europe, this costs about the 20-25 euro mark. In the States, it costs about the $20-25 mark. And all in all, it's a very good deal on its own. And it's a fantastic clone of Angel Share. The third alternative fragrance in this video from Fragrance World, Cocktail Intense. The fourth clone fragrance that I'm going to show you an alternative for comes from the house of Armaf. And it's probably, and not probably, it's the best known clone of Creed Aventus and probably the best known clone as a whole in the fragrance world, the fragrance community. The fragrance is called Club de Nuit Intense Man. I have the EDP variant here, and as I said, this is a clone of Creed Aventus. Now, this thing has great value for money, especially the, you know, the EDP, the Pure Perform and the limited edition Perform versions also have very refined scent profiles. They have fantastic performance, and all in all, they, you know, all of them are actually great fragrances on their own. But the main problem that I found with this particular one is the fact that pretty much everybody who's into fragrances and who likes the Creed Aventus scent profile wears a Club de Nuit Intense Man. So I'm going to give you an alternative just so if you want to stand out among everybody else who's wearing you know, the armaf fragrances. It comes again from the house of Zimaya and it's called Sha The Club. This thing is not a direct clone of Creed Aventus, it's more like a twist on the original scent profile. To my nose, this feels slightly fresher, slightly more fruity, also feels a little bit soapy, at least you know, to my nose. On its own, a great fragrance that comes very nicely packaged. You get a very luxurious packaging, you get a very nice looking bottle, very high quality sprayer. Performance here is less compared to Club de Nuit Intense Man, especially the EDP, you know, the Pure Perform and limited edition Perform versions, but still this is not a bad performing fragrance. I've been getting with a bit of maceration over 8 hours of performance with very nice projection. The best thing is that this is actually cheaper compared to you know, all the better versions of Club de Nuit Intense Man. So if you want something done in the same style as Creed Aventus but slightly different, so you know, smell a little bit different compared to everybody else out there, definitely check out Sha The Club from Zimaya. And the last fragrance that I'm going to show you an alternative for comes again from the house of Lattafa. And it's another of the hyped up beasts and probably the best known lattafa fragrance, and it's called LFA Camera. A great fragrance, one of my most favorite lattafa fragrances. Now, a lot of people compare this to Kilian's Angel Share. Again, I don't think that's exactly the case. This is not a straight up clone of Angel Share. It lacks the booziness. To my nose, this feels a lot sweeter compared to Angel Share, you know, from the opening to the dry down, but on its own this is a fantastic fragrance. Comes very nicely packaged. I really like the bottle design, I like the juice color, it has fantastic performance, pretty much a beast mode performing fragrance that's perfectly unisex, and on its own it's a great fragrance. But if you're looking to get Lattafa Camera, spending the amount of money on Camera, my suggestion will be to go with the flanker of Camera that's called Kawa. Again, looks very similar bottle wise. The coloring of the bottle is slightly different, but this thing has a more interesting scent profile, you know, Kawa. Lattafa have added a very you know, nice coffee note in the opening of this fragrance that gives this scent a little bit more sort of depth, makes it a little bit more interesting, also makes it stronger. Kawa, in my experience, has been quite a bit stronger compared to the already strong OG. The projection here is stronger and it lasts for a longer time compared to the OG Camera. So If you're looking to spend your money on the LFA Camera, definitely first check out LFA Camera Kawa. If you like a coffee note in your fragrances and if you really want to get a stronger performing fragrance compared to the OG, definitely check out Camera Kawa, the 5th alternative fragrance in this video. And so guys, in today's video I showed you 5 great alternatives to 5 very well-known cologne fragrances. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in the next one. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.